Okay, so today I got something special for you KVM or kernel-based virtualization guys. They're in a high-performance virtualization. I do plan to be doing a complete guide on how to get the lowest possible guess latency, which will pretty much blow away all other competition. Well, for the most part. I'll go into the details, the clock source, timer, and all that great stuff. And anyway, this is one of those things that you're going to need or want to keep your latency as low as possible, and that is a Scream audio base installation on both your guest and your host. Now, what is Scream? Scream Audio is an audio driver that installs on your guest machine in Windows, and it runs the audio through the network back to your host. So what benefits does that give you? That gives you less of a need or less interrupt handling on like your audio stuff that may be being used through that nasty HDMI audio driver that's on your NVIDIA or AMD graphics card, which, as you know, especially on rigs that are a little bit older, interrupt handling can be a pain in the butt, as well as your clock source CPU timing handling. So what you're doing is when you're passing the audio through the network, you're getting rid of that need to use like your HDMI audio driver or your AMD audio driver, and you're going to just go ahead and disable that nasty thing in your device manager and pass your audio through cleanly over your network, and you're not having to use the QEMU emulated audio functions and reroute the audio back to your card. You can just do it through the network and just keep it away from everything else, and it just helps. It helps keep the guest latency lower. So just something you're going to want to do if you're aiming for one of those lowest latency based guest machines that you just want the highest possible performance, and it's just going to work good. So it's just something I recommend doing. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go ahead and look at their pretty GitHub page here. Now, this is the official GitHub page for Scream Audio. So this is going to work, and it's going to work good for you. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a rundown of how to install it on the guest first, and then we're going to go ahead, switch over to the host, and I'm going to show you how to install it on Linux. Because, you know, for most of you guys, you're going to be running Linux on the host, Windows on the guest, and yeah. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the cheese of the business here. Okay, so scrolling down, scrolling up and down and up. And we're going to go ahead and download this for the guest. So right here, install our package for 3.9, x64, x86, and ARM64. So we're just going to want Scream 3.9.zip. Go ahead and save that to the desktop. Windows key D. And Scream up. Desktop update a little slow on that one, but there it goes. Okay. Go to the install folder here, and you're going to see install x64.bat, and there is a little dash there I forgot to say. So that one right there, right click, run as administrator. Okay, so my DaVinci that I'm like editing the video on to actually make this video right now, it's saying, hey, your speakers were not found. That's because I already had this installed, but I'm going ahead and installing it again anyway, so y'all can see how this process works. Okay, so we are installed. Drivers have installed successfully, and you key to continue. So as soon as you install that little bat file, and you might have a pop-up, another pop-up for device manager, I can't remember exactly, and you're gonna have to click yes or whatever. Like I said, I'm doing this again on mine. And immediately what you're gonna notice is you're going to go to sound, and you're gonna see speakers, and you're gonna see Scream here. Now, you may or may not have to restart after installing. I can't remember off the bat, but you're going to see Scream here, and you're going to want to make sure that's selected. Now, if you have like an HDMI audio driver, let's go in Device Manager here, scroll down. As you can see, mine are disabled. So my AMD high definition audio device disabled, AMD streaming audio device disabled. So the only thing I'm keeping enabled is Scream, and like I said, that helps with interrupt handling and your audio, and it helps reduce your overall system latency. If I pull up latency on here, you'll see that my latency is pretty much, I don't know if a lot of you guys see latency benchmarks on like level 1 techs or other forms of stuff for like high performance kernel based virtualization. You'll see mine already is pretty much like blowing the doors off of, I don't know, like at least 95% of, I don't know, everyone else's. So anyway, like I said, I'll do a guide later on how to get it this slow. There is a lot behind it. I spent probably like the course of like 6 months reading through like libvirt and Red Hat documentation and et cetera, and just, I don't know, at least 200 plus hours going through the kernel options and doing a custom kernel and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to do a complete video on how to get the latest possible latency. But that's off topic. So what we did is we got the guest Scream audio driver installed. As you can see, that sound you hear in the background of the Windows beep screaming, ironic because it's a Scream audio driver and you can literally hear it screaming through the Scream audio driver. I don't know, I thought that was funny. Anyway, so it's screaming and it's working, and the sound you're hearing is coming from the Linux host. Now, another thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go into regedit. Like, this is the host, the guest space setup. So reg, if I can figure out how to type here, regedit, right click, run as administrator. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using the unicast options. Now, when you're going originally through their documentation here, let's go back one. For the setup, for most of y'all, this is going to be all you have to do. Now, it does have some notations on, you may have to have secure boots disabled in the BIOS. You may have to have secure boot disabled in the BIOS, et cetera, et cetera. So you can go over that. Y'all may have to do that, but for this guide, I'm just showing you all the basics and throwing in an extra, switching over to unicast. That way you're not multicasting it over your network. Just a little more secure in the way I'd recommend doing it. So you're going to be switching over to unicast. So you got the Scream audio driver installed. If it's appeared in your sound after you restarted or not restart, whatever, you're good to go. For most of the stuff on the guest side, you're pretty much already good to go. But I would recommend doing the unicast. So what you're going to want to go ahead and do here is you're going to want to keep scrolling down like I just did, using unicast instead of multicast optional. But I think it's actually pretty important to use I think it's actually pretty important to go ahead and use unicast and multicast. So that's what we're doing here. So anyway, what you're going to want to do is if you see this path, these registry entries, or most of them, should already be created. Now, the options folder won't. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to, when you get to this point in the registry, right here, you're probably not going to see this, and you're going to have to right click and you're going to create this options folder in the regedit. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put this, what is this called again? I think there's a DWORD 32-bit value. Okay, no, so for the unicast port, it's a DWORD 32-bit value. So you're going to do DWORD 32-bit value. I just did the 4011, which is pretty much default. And then you're going to want to do a right-click new, what is it? I think it's a binary. No, it's not binary. String, it's a string value. Okay, reg string. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, it says right here. Okay, so reg DWORD right here, 32-bit, and then reg string, that's a SZ stands for, obviously. Yeah, sorry, I should have known that before. Seen that before, but my eyes didn't pick it up at the moment. Anyway, so right here, you're going to want to put the IP of your host machine. So right here, IP of host machine, right here, IP of host machine, and this is pretty much all got to be case sensitive. So you're going to make sure you type this in exactly the way you see it. And that you're going to see, hey, we're only sending the signal over to this IP address. We're not doing multicasting to like multiple machines or anything else. We're just, bam, right there, that IP. And that's the port we're going to use. and that's it. After you've done that and you've restarted, you can also set your sampling rate, or your, I don't guess that's to say sampling rate, or your rate, your audio rate, lower. So if you do notice any latency issues with your audio, which default you're like not going to, like shouldn't, but if you do, you just lower this value. So what you're going to want to do is go to sound, and that's just going to make sure, hey, you want less sound data being sent over the network, and then you can, device properties, advanced device properties, bam, 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 levels, advanced, blah, 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 right here. So if you want less data going through your network via the with the audio, you're just going to lower this. Just find your sweet spot wherever. Doesn't have to be exact. It has to be high to low. Sound. So yeah, you do that and you're good. Your guest side of the installation is now done, finished, and you're good. Now we move on to the host side. Okay, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and open up Google Chrome, and we're going to go back to their GitHub page. So git scream. It's a Scream Virtual Network sound card for Windows. And then right here, I'm going to click on receivers. And then right here where it says Unix, I'm going to click on Unix. And as you can see, here are some basic installation instructions for actually installing the receiver on your Linux host. So let's go ahead and open up a terminal here. And okay. So I already downloaded here. I'll go ahead and remove the directory so you can see how I did it. I'm sure everyone knows, pretty much everyone knows how to use Git, especially if you set up a KVM. You're probably way far advanced in that. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this again anyway. So clear that terminal out, and then screen code. Copy that. Git clone. Shift insert enter, and then cd scream ls, and let's go back to that page we were on before, back to instructions. Okay, so right here I am in the scream directory from the git clone, and what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead and cd into the receivers. Now the receivers is the part of the software that's going to work on your host. So ls. Now it's been a while since I've done this, so let's see if I do it right. Okay, and here are some dependencies you may need. You're just going to install these if you need them. I won't need them, so I won't be installing them. Y'all can obviously already know how to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. Put that in. mk build and cd build, and then we're going to go ahead and cmake the previous directory we're in. And then we're going to go ahead and make. So as you can see, it built it. Now it said no package SOXR found, no package jack, no package ALSA, libpulse simple, blah blah blah. So I'm strictly working on the pulse audio package. So this should just fine. Now if it's complaining about that, obviously you can install some of these packages and it should go ahead and fix the issue for you. So let's go ahead and ls that. Okay, can we do a make install? Sudo make install. Okay, so that's all you gotta do. So then sudo make install, and it's installed. Sorry guys, I was a little rusty. It's been like months and months since I set this up. I can remember it took me like forever to figure out where that like receivers folder was. I was like, I don't know how I missed it. It's like, really? It's like, how did I miss that? It's I was like looking all over, like, where's the host package? Anyway, so okay, so I did a make install and installed to user local bin scream. So just to confirm it's not running the old one in memory, which it still is, I'm going to go ahead and sudo kill all scream like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Windows guest screen right here so you can see. Let's go ahead, I'll make it a little bigger for y'all too. Okay, right there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and click right here. As you can see, we do not have any audio. But from when we did the guest settings before, it's still using all those original registry settings, and it's still trying to connect. So what we're going to go ahead and do here now, let me hide this screen again. So I have to look at that. Actually, you know what? Let me move this. I'll move this over here. That way y'all can see it. Okay, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do screen. You don't want to sudo this because, you know, most audio applications, you don't want to run them as root. So scream. So my fish auto completed this right here. So scream dash I. I is for your interface. So your network interface is dash I. So that would be F4 here. And then dash P is the port. So this is pretty much the standard default port. And if you notice, that was the same port that we put in the guest registry settings. And then U for unicast. So scream interface F4 dash P for port dash U. Now, once you run this command, what it's going to do is it's going to connect. Sometimes it doesn't connect right away, and usually if you go back over to your guest and you like click an audio application to make a noise, it will connect. At least I've seen this a few times before. I'm not entirely 100% sure, but I'm probably wrong actually. Okay, so let's clear that out, and then I'm going to go ahead and confirm that's in fact my interface we're going to be using. So sudo ifconfig-a. Okay, so the interface I'm going to be using is not going to be F4, it's going to be F0, which is probably going to be the way for a lot of y'all too. So scream, it auto completed that right there. I'm just going to run it for F0 and press enter. And see, as you see, nothing's coming up. I'm going to go back over to my guest. Click on the audio. Okay, and there you go. See, so the message does come up as soon as it starts receiving sound. It shows the sample rate right here, the sample size, and 2 channels. So it's working fine, and it's working at 4800 hertz. Like I said, if you happen to notice any latency-based issues, you can lower your hertz on the guest and on the host with like pulse audio and stuff like that. You know, whatever you gotta do to get that latency, audio latency down, which I've had a problem with it maybe one time before, and that was when the computer was on a long time and I was doing a whole bunch of load over the network. When I was playing Halo Infinite, I'd shoot the pistol and you wouldn't hear the shot till like 0.2 seconds later. So it wasn't that bad. That's the only time I've seen that, when my network was under drastic load. Otherwise, it works perfect. So as you can see, it's connected here and it's working. Now, another thing to take note of, I'm going to go ahead and move over to my audio tab. Now, if you look over here, so we're just using the regular built-in audio. You can ignore this one. This is the mic I'm talking on right now. So we're just using the regular built-in audio. So what it's just doing is it's just Scream is just forwarding that over Pulse directly to your first running output. So whenever you do this, you're going to want to make sure you only have that running output. There are ways to custom configure it so you can use different outputs and etc., but this should be fine for y'all. And this is how you set up Scream. So if y'all like the video, like and subscribe. The goal of this channel for me is to get a little bigger. You know, I don't make much money at all, so I'm trying to get the little channel bigger, get maybe some sponsors or some likes or maybe some donations on Patreon so I can move away just a little bit more from my day job, and I can start focusing on my YouTube and building my own thing and enjoying that freedom of being your own boss, which can be nice at times. So yeah, anyway, if y'all like the video, if it saved you time, like and subscribe. I